The Polygon Siskiu D7 came out with a special edition, so it's only fair that we gave the D6 a special edition as well. So the key differences that you're going to notice on this bike compared to the regular D6, it now comes with that boost fork. So the main benefits of boost, it's a little bit stiffer, it's going to track a little bit better when the trail goes rough, but it also makes future upgrades to the fork a little bit easier because you don't need to worry about changing anything when it comes to the front wheel. And while this is a boost fork, there is a slight difference to the D6. This is a coil sprung fork, whereas the regular D6 is an air fork. So when we take this for a ride on the trail, I'm really interested to see the difference if I prefer a non-boost fork that's air, or do I prefer a boost fork that's coil sprung. Taking a look at the rear shock, it's a little bit different as well. So we've got the Suntour Radon, whereas the regular D6 had an X-Fusion unit, but this one only comes with compression adjustment, whereas the regular D6 came with rebound as well as compression. So as you can see, compared to the regular D6, there are some little differences when it comes to the suspension, but that really comes down to the price because this model here is a little bit more affordable. However, there are some niceties compared to the regular D6, even at this more affordable price point, you do get lock-on grips. But digging into the main similarities behind the bike, you get the same frame as the D6. The drivetrain's pretty much the same as well. It's Shimano Dior 1x10, so you're getting that great chain retention out of a 1x drivetrain, and it's nice and simple too. So maintenance and shifting really is a breeze on this. You also get a nice chain guard as well as Shimano hydraulic disc brakes, so the MT200 units, and you're also getting a decent length dropper post as well as the cockpit courtesy of Entity as well, so some decently wide bars and short stem too. Before we do take this for a quick ride, if you're looking for a super in-depth review, we've done a comparison video between all the Polygon Siskiu D bikes, so I'll leave that in the description as well. And if you want to check out the regular Polygon Siskiu D6 review, I'll leave that in the link in the description as well. And I've also done an upgrade series on that bike too. So if you're interested in upgrades as well, I would definitely recommend checking out those videos. So enough of that, let's take this for a ride and I'll give you my thoughts. Funny how these reviews turn out. You might think one thing on paper, but when you take the bike for a ride, sometimes you're really surprised. And there's no denying that the Polygon Siskiu D6 is my favorite bike in the Siskiu D lineup. You get that dropper post, 1x drivetrain, and a really great price point. So when I saw the D6 Special Edition now came with a boost fork, I was like, yes, finally, everyone's been asking for this. But then I saw it was a coil fork and I was a little bit bummed out. But if I'm being honest, I'm really surprised. I actually prefer the coil fork over the air fork. So while an air fork usually is a bit better because you can really dial in the spring rate to your weight by adjusting the air pressure, but on more budget air forks, they aren't quite as good as their higher end counterparts. And we really noticed this when we were testing the D6 and D7 back to back. So while the fork on the regular D6 does have that little bit more adjustment, I actually found that this coil fork has a decent range of adjustment. Yes, you can't really adjust the spring rate properly. You can adjust the preload. You can get aftermarket springs for this in the future if that's something you really want to change, but that's a bit of tinkering. But it's got compression adjustment and there's even rebound as well.
And what's really impressive is that the fork has 34mm stanchions as well.
So that's how wide this little part is here. So I actually found that it was really stiff, and on those chunky sections, the bike tracked really well. So just because it has a coil fork, I really wouldn't sell it out. And because it does have that boost now, there is that future upgradability there too. But where I did prefer the regular D6 really is in that rear shock. The rear shock I felt on the regular D6, just that little bit more composed, a little bit more supple, and I really valued that I could adjust the rebound on it. And on this, you've only really got the lockout. So that is something to take into consideration as well. And really, other than that, the only main differences between the bikes
is the drivetrain. On the special edition, you get an 11 to 42 tooth cassette, but on the regular D6, you're getting a wider range 11 to 46 tooth cassette, which is going to help you out a little bit more in the climbs.
But again, drivetrain's consumable item, you can upgrade to that in the future. So it really comes down to what you prefer. Both bikes offer everything that you really need. They've got a dropper post, 1x drivetrain, and decent suspension as well. Do you prefer the future upgradability with that boost? It's going to make it a little bit easier. Or do you just want air suspension front and rear that you can really dial in the spring rate to your weight? But I think if you just want to get out a mountain bike, ride some XC and trail stuff, you can't go wrong with either bike. This is just really nerding out between the differences of both bikes. So there you go, my question to you guys. Do you prefer the slightly more affordable D6 Special Edition with the boost up front, or do you prefer the D6 regular version with the air suspension front and rear? So let me know in the comments what you guys think there. But as always, thanks for watching. See ya.